the brilliant Shawne Merriman, great pass rusher, and now successful fight promoter. You were already getting there, but we talked about your upcoming Lights Out fight last time you were on, and it sounded like it went pretty well, man.
It did. It did. Lights Out Extreme fight, and we moved into the top 10 all-time watch for Fubo Sports, Fubo TV. And that was great for us, man, because we were behind international soccer, and I was like, holy, okay, what happened, right? Like, I don't, so the people, kind of tell you what they like and stuff like that. So it was great to have that viewership. We have another big fight coming up in April that I'm going to announce here in the next week or two in that card, and it'll be in Los Angeles. That'll be also live on Fubo Sports, Fubo TV. Yeah,
well, congratulations, man. Really, really pleased for you. How are you enjoying Super Bowl so far?
It's great, man. we were talking about the same repetitive questions, and I'm sure you guys will have way better questions than Tom Brady. So if you got anything better than that, just ask away.
I don't know if I can handle it. How big are your hands, Shawne? I just want to know.
No one asked me that question, so yeah.
They are, honestly, when he shook my hand yesterday, having only met you virtually previously, like, I'm just saying, I think you could still go. Like, if somebody went down for this weekend and they needed to get, an extra pass rusher off the bench, then I'm just saying I think you could do.
I'm good for one game, for sure. But I'll be done for the rest of the year, so I can play one Super Bowl game and kind of wrap it up. I make this joke about guys retiring, and it's not that you can't play anymore, it's just you can't recover. Right, like there was no point in time, like towards the end of my career, I'm looking at a Thursday night game. I'm like, oh my God, you're just feeling good that Thursday when you wake up in order to play in the game. So it beats up your body. I miss it, but it's definitely rough on your body.
I mean, you say it's rough on your body. Shawne started this MMA league, right? He reveals to me last time that the reason he got into the sport was because he started fighting after his rookie season as an off-season workout.
No.
Yeah.
Were you allowed to do that? Did you tell your coaches that? Were you allowed to do that?
Of course I did. Yeah. Look, I had a couple exhibition, like I can say it now, but I couldn't say it then. I had a couple exhibition fights during the off season, but there was like no camera phones and people. Like, hey, if they had phones, they were put up. Yeah. I say, hey, put your phones up, because I know I would get a call from the ownership of the team say, hey, what are you doing? But I really do encourage like all athletes of any sport to pick up some kind of combat sport, because it's a different kind of training. Once you get into MMA, you realize, like, hey, the leverage and you're using your body and be able to pummel and do jiu-jitsu, it just teaches you a different level of training. My first day with training was with Randy Couture, right? And we were just pummeling, and I'm 265, 270. This is off season. I'm a little bit heavier. He was around 200. He fought at 205. He was around 205 or 210. I got him by 65 pounds, and he was tossing me around like a damn rag doll, and I couldn't understand, like, how or why. Because I'm stronger than he is. I was more explosive. I said, how are you able to just move my body and do certain things? And that's when I started to understand, like, the disciplines of what that sport can do for you.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And, it's massive over in the UK. We see guys like, Conor coming back is obviously absolutely huge from our perspective. That'll blow up the UFC even more. And I guess for guys like you, having big stories like that is only going to help bring more focus onto the stuff you guys are doing.
Yeah, no question about it. I think the UFC have done a great job at making MMA global, right? Because if you think about it, about 10 years ago, it wasn't even allowed in some states here in the country. New York, I think they just got approved for doing MMA in 2015-ish, somewhere around there. In some countries that still don't even allow it, that they're open the doors. So think of how big this sport will be in the next 5 or 10 years. In my opinion, it's kind of overtaken boxing. Because you do have the best fighting the best, and I think the UFC's done a good job at that. You're not having, some guy that's 20-0 fighting for, up for a title, fighting a guy that's, 5-20, some tomato can, and that's what's so great about MMA so far.
Considering what you've experienced in both MMA and the NFL, I'm fascinated to know, who is the greatest athlete you've ever come across?
In MMA or just in sports?
Yeah.
In MMA is definitely John Jones.
Yeah.
John, and people can say what they want about him out the cage and everything else, maybe take a shot at his character, but in the cage, there's no one even close. That size, that strength, that mobile, and can do what he can do, that skilled. We've never seen anything like John Jones, and I don't think we ever will, because, John Jones is built really like a football NFLer. He's built like a football player. Who happens to fight. And I can't wait to see his upcoming fight they got. I think it's coming up in April or something like that. I can't wait to see him go and fight again.
It's amazing that he is in his 30s now. That's the thing. The discipline of MMA. These guys do fight until they're 35, sometimes even like up to 40.
Yeah.
And I know there's a difference in the way that athletics works now. You know, I'm sorry to mention he who should not be named, but you weren't seeing a quarterback go till they were 45, 10, 15 years ago, were you?
Right.
So it's a different discipline now, right? But I think even with MMA and with fighting, it feels like the way that they train, the way they look after their bodies is just different world.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it becomes like a skill. Like I mentioned Randy Couture. Randy Couture won a title, I think, at 43 or 42 or 43 years old. He was a champion. And, you know, when you're taking care of your body different, and that's why, you know, a lot of these former NFL guys who are retiring at 30 years old, hey, you got another 6 to 8 years to go and create another life in another sport. And we have some former, footballers that's coming over that's now going to be in lights out extreme fighting.
Are you allowed to tell us who yet?
Well, some of the guys got to talk to their wife first. So I don't want to break I don't want to break up a marriage. But we've had Chris McCain, who's outside linebacker for the Chargers and Colts and Miami Dolphins. He was a 3-0 amateur. He was also very much built like John Jones. We got a few other guys that played 3-4 years in the NFL that's coming over. Scooby Wright too. There was he was up for the Heisman in college. He's an MMA fighter as well. He's in the XFL right now, I believe, or one of the leagues. So we got there's going to be a transition here of former athletes. We see Frank Gore, Le'Veon Bell, and Adrian Peterson. It didn't go that well for him, but we're going to see a transition here of former athletes in combat sports.